Hello, everybody. Welcome to Comic Line. I'm Sal.
I'm Ethan.
I'm Ben.
And I'm Tiffany.
Today we're going to talk about a odd topic. It's kind of a mostly hypothetical scenario, but it has roots in reality. Most people are talking about the Fox-Disney acquisition, whether Disney will actually take control of Fox and its subsidiary properties, or whether Comcast might sweep in and just take it out from under them and ruin all of our dreams. But there's another odd piece of news that came out recently, and that was that AT&T was trying to acquire Time Warner, and as a result, it wound up becoming kind of embroiled in its own antitrust situation. And if it fails, Time Warner itself may be broken up into 3 different pieces, which include Turner, Warner Brothers, and HBO, leaving the fate of the DC Comics publishing line in question. It could be that, and the reason why there are Marvel and DC characters here, that maybe when it gets split up, and this whole company isn't worth $85 billion, that Disney might go, those Warner Brothers guys, they had the Batman? Yeah, just buy that. And then they'll have all the superheroes. Even though in reality, we'll also have Booster Gold. No, it's more like, you mean we'll have the Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman people? And we're going to fight you do that shit too? Done. Yeah. And so my question isn't necessarily, will it happen? Although everyone in the comments will tell us how it can't. The question is, what would happen if we lived in such a reality?
This is like a what-if episode.
Yeah.
Precisely. And you know what? The reality is, you don't know whether it could happen or not, because so many things have happened.
It also depends if you subscribe to the multiverse.
Right. Maybe it already has happened.
Oh, we just need one of those devices to peer into it.
Right.
And
Yeah,
see
I don't
that
want to
entire
go there.
world on fire.
Right. Because the reality is, in the 80s, Marvel almost had the opportunity to buy DC Comics back then.
Mm-hmm.
And
So it's not that far-fetched.
Not that far-fetched, the idea that all the superheroes could be under one roof.
Right.
I mean, we could have been living in that world for 30 years.
Right.
And it wouldn't seem far-fetched at all. But now we're in a world where, Disney clearly just wants to buy IPs and then to hell with whoever manages them. Whatever. I don't know. I don't know how it runs. I don't know how that horse runs. I just want it to run.
I just want it to run, and then I want to put its picture on a lot of mugs and sell those
Exactly. I need Prickly Pete merch all over the place. So that being said, what if Disney just bought DC Comics? Well, there's it's ours now. What do you think would happen?
First off, you would get some superheroes down at Disney World instead. And Six Flags would have no draw.
Now that's what's so funny about that, because Universal Orlando has the Marvel license, and they're in a sticky situation with Disney and their parks, because over in Disneyland, because they're not within, they have a weird deal, and they had a deal well before Disney acquired Marvel, but it was you can't have Marvel attractions within 100 miles of a Universal theme park.
Okay.
And so Disneyland changed the Twilight Zone Tower of Terror to the Guardians of the Galaxy Who Gives a Shit Tower. Mm-hmm. But in Disney,
That's an interesting name.
Yeah, but in Disney World, it's the Hollywood Tower of Terror.
Yeah.
No Guardians of the Galaxy whatsoever. But in Disneyland, complete top-down. They literally shot scenes with Michael Rooker as Yondu specifically for the tower thing.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Well, I mean, he's just happy to...
He should be happy to be blue,
And whistle a lot.
right?
Yeah.
That's how you know he's happy, because he's whistling.
I kind of want to go there now.
I kinda wanna see
some
it.
of This special.
I've seen it. It's really
just
cool.
for amusement park.
And in fact, in Disneyland, they have an Iron Man assortment with all these armors. And if you meet up with an agent of S.H.I.E.L.D., they'll take you to Asgard. And then a special door will open, and you'll have crossed the Bifrost and meet Thor, and he's on the throne of Asgard. And then he puts his enchanted hammer on top of a magnet, and then he asks you to try and lift it. He's but don't slide it or rock it. You can only lift directly up. Oh, you can't do it, but I can do it. It's yeah, thanks, Thor. But it's delightful, and the guy who played him is amazing. Then I'm nominating you to do that job. And when they eventually break that deal with... but Universal can't do anything like that.
Right, but they clearly have already, because...
There's a
little insider information that Disney World in Epcot will be doing something with Guardians of the Galaxy, and the employees are very excited because of the fact that they need better rides there because they want their park to be more popular.
Yeah. As it stands, Epcot seems to be one of the lesser attended parks, which is great for people who want to go
I think
there.
it used to be Animal Kingdom, but then they got Avatar.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
And somehow that managed to get people to go to it.
Hey, man, people like that Avatar movie.
They love those cats.
It's very bright.
It is.
Listen, I hate Avatar. It was cool.
It was fun, but like the idea that like they have found a way around this, and that Guardians of the Galaxy is going to get something at Epcot, I'm like,
maybe they're working the right way.
how'd you do that?
But the reason why I even mentioned that was because Six Flags Great Adventure has all the DC characters. Now, my guess is Disney would just be like, okay, and then just put Batman in everything anyway. Because there's nothing.
I mean, you could pay us for them still,
Right?
because it's not like Six Flags gets that free of charge.
No, but they are owned by, I guess, Warner Brothers, because they have the Looney Tunes characters and everything.
Yeah.
So
They must have some kind of ongoing deal with the...
They got that sweet safari.
oh yeah, it's a good store.
I've never
They
been
do
to
have
Six
that.
Flags.
So it would, I think you're right. It would affect the parks. The problem is, let's say like Disney bought DC tomorrow, we wouldn't see like a Batman ride in a
No,
Disney park
it'd be a
for
while.
15 years or
They're
something.
like, no, we got it. It's right here.
They're like, oh no, it's ready to go.
We're always
We're
prepared
ready
if we
for
get
that.
Batman.
That's fair. I would be.
I don't give a shit about anything else.
Right, but Batman's happening. We got the Batman shirts. We got the Batman ears.
We got the Flash. It's just an exercise park with a lot of treadmills.
Yeah.
So here's the thing: what happened when Disney bought Marvel?
Right?
Stuff happened with the movies, but like
In
what
terms
about
of the publishing?
the... yeah,
Seemingly
did they just
nothing.
not do anything with it?
Yeah, as far as we know, Disney basically just let Marvel be Marvel. Just keep doing what they do.
But at the same time, there was a little bit of control where they said, like, look, you're going to put out certain titles, you're going to have certain tie-ins.
I don't know. I mean, they do have to publish like MCU books, but they were doing that anyway.
Yeah.
I feel like Marvel has been very much like left to their own devices, which actually was kind of to their detriment because they were making some like really boneheaded decisions. If you watch our episode of Comic Line over here, you'll see some of them from 2017. But if Disney were in charge at like the fundamental like planning stage, I don't think any of those things would happen. That being said, you know, if Disney acquired DC as a publishing house, you know, would it be a beautiful menagerie of superheroes? I think you're right. I think it would not be. I think it would just be like, no, we own these two publishing companies.
They still put out books.
They still put out books. And I honestly don't know how either of them work. So they both just have the same people who work there.
I guess you could do crossovers more because
See,
there's not any like financial.
I would like to think so,
negotiations
but
that would have to occur.
I feel like there's bad blood between a lot of the executives on both sides, and so being forced to get the same check from the same company might actually make them more animosity.
Or
I worry
Disney
about that.
just goes in and sweeps away the entire executive
Yeah,
parts
right?
of those
I mean,
companies and says,
like, oh, you're not going to work together? Well, goodbye.
Right, well then you're fine.
Well, we have Disney people that will.
I would like to think,
the
I mean,
Imagineers will take over.
I do know, speaking of inside information, I do know that the people at DC, on the DC level, they are very interested in doing crossovers
Yes.
with everybody and Marvel. It's Marvel that has no interest in doing it.
Right.
So if DC and Marvel were both getting checks from the mouse, I feel like DC would be like, hey, we can finally do it. And nobody has to, everyone gets a check. There's no worry about who gets what. And Marvel might be more amenable to that.
Right.
In terms of merchandising, I think it's like the most obvious thing for them. In terms of merchandising, Disney owning both companies, I'm not happy with Disney's merchandising of Marvel for the most part. All their art is really bad, and their cartoons are even worse. So it's like, oh, having DC would be like, oh, so it's all crappy. It all looks bad. Particularly their animation.
Well, that depends, because acquiring DC, they might not... Sometimes when merchandising, like, or just any teams come together, they don't throw everything out.
Right.
They might take a look at what DC has merchandise-wise and be like,
Yeah, you're doing something right.
I like some of these things. Like,
Yeah.
maybe we start giving some of that stuff for Marvel characters, too.
I can see that, yeah. It's interesting. It's such a weird thing, and it's trying to predict what, like, a huge global conglomerate would want to do, and basing it off of what they have done in the past, I think is the way to figure out what they're going to do.
Well, I
It's
mean,
like,
if they're smart, they're going to take the best of each company and try and incorporate that in the other. So I think the question comes
what an
down
ideal
to...
idea.
Well, yeah.
I
That
don't-
was fantastic.
I can't believe that would happen.
But what do you think that Marvel does best that DC should improve on? What does DC do best that Marvel should improve
Yeah, like
on?
what would Disney learn from? Like what like ideally speaking, how would they improve?
Yeah.
The movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Marvel would run the movies.
Yeah.
DC
Obviously.
runs the comics.
Yeah,
I
that's
mean,
actually
that's the obvious.
that's a
I
really-
don't know if that.
But here's the thing about
That's
that.
such a black and white,
I
like,
know.
Yeah.
sorry, people who like Zack Snyder, but, like, here's the reality. Disney would run the movies, and DC would run the comics, and that would be the end of
my
it.
concern about that is every time with comics, like, every time one side's doing better than the other, inevitably it all comes around.
Oh,
Yeah, it doesn't
I'm
matter.
I'm seeing DC do it already. DC's already kicking their feet on the desk, going like, well, we made it! Like, no, I'm already... Because literally, like, Marvel is not destroyed by DC's books. DC is making some great books.
Yes.
And their flagship characters are flourishing. But they're moving creators. They're making some odd, questionable decisions. They're starting to play a few things closer to the chest than they normally do. And they're making some weird decisions that are like, hey, we're riding high. Let's make that decision. And it's like,
Why did you make that decision?
well, hold your horses there, DC. It's not like you're crushing Marvel. It's still just the two of you.
Hey,
I'm sorry. I mean, listen, I love indie comics too. They represent not
a major portion.
a major portion. It's the two, and then the third piece of the pie is split up against 4 or 5 other publishers.
But Image is a big part of that.
Image is the biggest of them, but like not by much.
that's what you get for telling really good stories.
That's what you get for putting out 100 really good stories in 1 year.
Well,
So if we did that, DC would become Disney Comics, and the MCU would be the Mouse Cinematic Universe.
I guess in terms of branding, yes, that would be what they
So you don't have to change.
Yeah, you don't have to change
it's
logos.
also be the magical cinematic universe.
There we go.
Oh.
I
Yeah.
love magic.
Who doesn't love magic?
And you know what? It really is a magical place.
Isn't it?
It's like Tahiti.
Oh, you're talking about. I thought you were talking about like magic.
No, I was talking
No,
like Disney
like the
magic.
Magic
Like
Kingdom.
Yeah.
like the OG park.
Right? Good call.
10 out of 10 would magic again.
Would cast.
So if they did put Marvel in charge of all the movies, would friggin' Batman just show up in the Marvel universe?
No!
'Cause
I don't
Marvel
think
universe
so.
is separate.
No.
They could do whatever they want.
They could do
Throw
whatever
in
they
all
want.
The DC characters.
I don't think they would, and here's why. Because even when they were going to acquire DC in the 80s, the plan was not to be like, great, Batman's an Avenger now. Like they were like, no, we're going to publish Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, Green Lantern, The Flash, and those books will still come out. And I don't even think they were going to like do a relaunch where it's like, and here's their new
We just
origins.
own it now.
We just own it and we publish them, and we'll do it a little better than they did. And like that's really it. And it would just be like, no, all the adventures of those characters would still proceed in a linear fashion as you expected, so you wouldn't get an interruption in service.
Right.
And maybe down the line we'll have a crisis or something. We'll fold them in, but they didn't even think about that before it was taken away from them.
Well,
I think they would do the same thing with the movies. I think they'd be like,
Yeah.
no, we're making a Batman movie over there, and we'll start. And maybe they would actually probably just do. I think they would just cultivate a DC cinematic universe.
I think so too. And honestly, you're making me rethink my like how much they might rely on crossovers, because I'm wondering if part of the deal would be like, all right, look, DC, you're going to still run your company. Marvel, you're going to run your company, but twice a year you have to come together and publish a book together.
Right. You have to figure that out.
I don't care how you do it,
Right.
but it has to
It's
be
like
done.
the All-Star game.
Yeah.
They put it in writing that like you guys are going to do your own thing.
Yeah. It's all separate.
It's only up like look, you have to do the two things, otherwise we'll step in. Or if numbers start to dip below a certain point, we will then step in.
Right, then we'll reassess whether or not they're separate in the first place.
Yes.
I could very much see that happening, and I could definitely see the, like, once a year you have to do a thing together.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it's not even, like, a universal, like, it's like, Galac's gonna eat the DC universe or something.
No.
No, it's literally just, you have to do one crossover.
Yep.
Like, it could be Punisher and Batman, or it could be, like, Green Lantern and, I don't know. Thor. Like, it has to be two characters, and you have to make it really good. And and that's it. It doesn't have to be 100 pages.
Yeah.
It's just, you have to do a crossover of some kind to prove that you motherfuckers can work together to show that you guys are functioning.
Yeah.
Because you are under one parent company, we have to get along.
Exactly. It's almost like a retreat.
Yeah.
Like, just to
That could be their retreat.
Your
Write
retreat
the crossover for this
yeah,
year.
do the crossover.
Everyone get in a room and
Can you
write it.
imagine? I've seen the
We
writers'
had 7
rooms.
people die at the retreat this year.
Yeah, I've seen the writers' rooms. It's like, just come up with something. Green Lantern and Thor, only more interesting.
Hold on.
Leave.
But maybe
So what do you think, Green Lantern and Thor?
maybe
Yeah, it sounds
the
good.
retreat would be like they'd put them, you know, like they have like the cabins in Disney World. Like there's an area where you can go camping and there's like cabins and like that. They put them in there.
Yeah.
They're like, you can't go to the park until you figure this out. And I know you want a churro.
Yeah.
And you
You
cannot
want a
have your
$9
churro.
churro.
Oh no, for
There's
the employees, they're
gators.
free.
You can't go in that water.
Yeah, you can't go in the water and you're on the deluxe Disney dining plan and you're wasting time.
Yeah. Clock's ticking. I will say, the one thing, I've heard some real horror stories from people who are employed by Marvel, but the one thing they all agree on is the Disney perks are the reason to stay.
Yeah.
So I could see that very much, because I can imagine like the Warner Bucks perks. Once a year, you can go to the Warner's lot and you can see a taping of Conan. Or you could go to Great Adventure in New Jersey, and, you could hang out with whoever's
funny.
available. You could hang out with the Flash.
And Yosemite Sam.
Son of a bitch. Will you fly me there? No.
No.
You can drive.
You can drive
your own car.
this Winnebago.
Do you think that Disney would take the opportunity to trim the fat from both? We just got DC. Now we have both of you, so both of you are cutting 50% of your books.
Oh.
So we're talking like not only just the staff as well, but also the characters.
Yeah,
No, he means just the books, like
just
the
the
publishing
books.
line.
Just
Like Marvel publishes, let's say
some of the-
60 books every month.
and most of them are doing terribly.
Right.
Let's just get rid of them.
Yeah.
We don't need all these books.
That should be a thing
I don't want
anyway.
to publish 120 books. I still want the 60, but now I got
60 more over
so
here. Son of a
it's time
bitch.
to cut.
That's
Yeah.
just it. I don't think Disney would say, "You're still making me money. Let's lose some of that money."
Are they?
Yeah.
How much money is Marvel making?
I don't know.
How much money did Marvel make last
They-
year?
they-
Not including movies.
Yeah, we don't know. They keep that shit to themselves.
They're not doing that well, though, right? Like,
I mean, some of the books are floundering. I mean, they definitely canceled a significant number of books, and some of those cancellations are like political, and some of them are financial. So, but it's impossible to know. That's what's so frustrating about like reporting on and speaking intelligently about the comic book industry is how like close to the chest they play it.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, you don't know how many books we publish. Well, I can count. Can you just release the numbers, like, so I don't have to count? We as a policy, we don't release the numbers. This is literally what a Marvel employee told me when I called them at their corporate office. We, as a policy, we don't release the numbers of how many books we publish a month. I go,
Because they're real bad.
right, yeah. And I go, yeah, I'm not asking how well they do. I just want to know how many. He's like, well, I can't tell you. And I'm like, okay, cool. I'll just count them. Stay on the phone. 1, 2, 3, click. Okay, yeah, thanks. Like, why? Maybe that would be nice. Like, it'd be nice for them to like kick them in the pants as far as like how to run a company. Except DC seems to be doing a pretty decent job. Like, DC has like some really great contacts and some great like contracts. Like the DC Direct Statues line.
Yeah.
Like, just them going like, screw Bowen, let's just make our own statues. I'm like, and they're great and cheap.
Yeah.
Like, I just saw this massive Batman Harley Quinn statue for like $350. I'm like, if Sideshow made that, it'd be $800.
Though, to be fair, Sideshow's.
Sideshow is, oh, well, no. Their game is untouchable.
It's like, whoa.
We love you, Sideshow. It's just,
They're very
That's real
costly.
expensive.
But
it's very
but-
expensive.
but
It's just expensive.
You don't question where the cost went to when you see those
When you buy
statues.
one.
No, but I'm just saying DC
No,
knows
no,
how
no.
to
Or
solve
if
their
someone
own.
wanted to send one.
Yeah, well, I mean, listen,
Like
Sideshow
Sideshow.
Sideshow is welcome in this stage anytime. But that being said, DC knows how to solve their own problems,
Sometimes.
and or create them. But yeah, I wonder if Disney owning them. I mean, here's the thing: DC's been owned by a parent company for longer than Marvel,
Yeah.
and they've been doing pretty well so far.
Yeah.
Like 30 years.
Comic book wise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. Ironic, since the company that bought them
It's a
makes
movie studio.
movies.
Yeah, you could have had a
Well-
Batman Superman movie at any point in the last 40 years.
We had a Batman movie, Batman 1989,
Yes.
which was fantastic.
Yep.
And there you go.
Well, a good 10 years before that, we had a Superman movie.
Here's the
Yeah.
problem.
Was that Time Warner though?
Yeah.
Okay, I was not aware.
The problem with that is that, see, none of these superheroes are a young boy with round glasses and a scar on his forehead. So it's really hard to make compelling stories about them because we can't, tug at the heartstrings of children and,
I don't know. Batman seems to draw on the kids. Superman, too.
Spider-Man
Wonder Woman, why
especially.
not?
I know. But that's how they treat it.
Oh, no, Warner Brothers definitely treats their properties like, well, it's not Harry Potter's, I don't care.
It's not even that they don't care. I think they don't know what to do with it. Harry Potter was, easy.
Yeah, marketed to kids. The end.
Also, we had the books to go by. We just made the books.
Right.
How many books are we supposed to make
That's fair,
of your
yeah.
stuff?
Yeah, with
Come
Harry
on.
Potter, book 1, movie 1, book 2, movie 2. I got this. Okay, DC, bring over your books. That's one year.
Oh, Jesus. And this is just one character.
Yeah.
How many characters
But I
do you
want to
have?
cross them over. About 1,000. But
Oh,
those are
no.
only the characters that have been around for 70 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, and who is it for?
And also,
Yeah, that's the big problem.
and also, as an executive, I don't even know what this is supposed to be. I don't read comic books.
yeah.
Who is this for? What are these about?
They're-
I've never read a
they're for
single one of
children,
these.
right? But they're like
People are
violently
dying.
killing each other.
Batman's origin alone is horrifying.
Well, yeah, that must have been. I can imagine a similar situation where they're like, I had to read all these Harry Potter novels in order to help make this book. And I could read a comic book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, no, it's literally.
Can you
it's
read
just the one,
30
right?
years of
Yeah,
them?
it's just the one. I
I'll
like.
get through this in a
Yeah.
weekend.
That's
Yeah.
actually that's the big catch-22 about reading comics in general. Is like the barrier to entry is incredibly thick.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you want to know what's happening,
Here's your starter set.
Here's your stack.
Which is why, like, it would make sense that they're like, all right, here you go, New 52.
Oh.
We'll make the movies off of that.
Oh, that's not a good idea.
Do you think that?
And even then, they started with they had baggage.
Oh, I was gonna move away from the movies for a second and go back to the publishing houses.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if they were to own both of them, if they would be like, again, now if I'm putting in the rules about the like, you guys are doing your own thing, but you gotta work together
At
once
the
a
year
year.
end, get your shit together.
And you have to communicate with each other when you're doing events. Because
Yeah.
we looked at your sales and you can't support having an event at the same time.
Right.
Right,
Oh
yeah.
my god, yeah. That alone would cause a collapse. Because there's no, we got a big Green Lantern event. What constitutes an event? What's technically an event? We need some contractual language that defines what an event is. Oh, whoa, there's a big Thor story happening where all the gods are dying. That sounds kind of eventish to me.
No, it's not an event.
It's
not an
just
event.
in Thor.
It's just gods dying.
No, see, according to the legalese, an event must have no fewer than 4 additional superheroes
And-
from the non-title.
And 6 tie-in books.
Right, and 6 tie-ins. There's only 3 tie-ins, and there's 3 characters that appear in those stories. And none of the 4 superheroes that do appear in my story may appear in the main title. They only appear in the event. Like,
That would be about the time that the mouse walked back in.
they're like, haha, what the hell's going on here? I'm gonna kick in the door.
Squeak. That could work out beneficially if they could figure it out. You know what I mean? Like maybe they set up a thing where they're like, Disney's like, this is an event. We talked to our guys, our nerd guys.
Yeah,
They
he
told us-
says, we talked to Wendell. He says this is an event. Who is Wendell? You can't fool me.
We got him in the basement.
Yeah.
He's just reading them all.
Yeah.
The problem with that is, well, what happens when? So they get it all planned out, right? Well, Marvel gets their event at this time, and then DC gets this event, and then Marvel. Well, what happens when one of them is inevitably late? Screws the whole thing.
Oh
up.
my
Well,
god!
no, no,
That's
no.
when
Companies that can't stay on
Disney
schedule.
like cracks down.
No, I don't think I don't think that would be such an issue because like usually they're off by like a month or 2. It's when we have an event and then an event is like overlap, like literally like it's like this
Yeah.
event started and then like maybe 1 or 2 issues into it, another event is
Right.
going on.
Or when the event completely changes the status quo of the entire publishing line.
Yeah.
That could actually... Disney owning both companies could be the whip crack that gets these 2 companies to stop it.
Right? It would-
Because it's just so hard to make to be able to say out loud or in some contractual document, I promise to only publish 1 event a year.
Right? And like here's what would be interesting about that. They would probably be required to have a timeline for the year laid out already.
Yeah.
Of anything big that was going to happen. And if it's not in there by this date, you can't do it this year. I'm
Right.
sorry.
Yeah, they have to have
I'm
like
sorry.
Not only just the year, they probably have it like a 5-year outlook.
that means that only if Disney owned both companies would Disney actually force the companies to behave like actual businesses, whereas like Disney hasn't forced Marvel to do that. And they're failing. And when I say failing, I mean like they're screwing things up, or they have consistently.
Well,
Literally,
everyone's talking about how much they're screwing up.
oh no, that's what's so
they're
amazing.
screwing up in some way.
What's amazing about that is Marvel released a pretty picture and a YouTube trailer, and now all's forgiven according to the readers now. They announced 4 books that have creative teams people like, which by the way was just rotating creators that worked for the company already. It wasn't like they brought in Hickman
New blood.
to fix something, or they asked Peter Tomasi to write Spider-Man. Like they just moved some characters around and moved some creators around, and then like put Thor back in his body, and they were like there, and everyone's like, "Huzzah! You fixed it!" And I'm like, "No, though. You replaced one editor-in-chief. The end. That's all you did. You're not... Don't you see? It's just gonna happen again because they don't actually learn a lesson. They released like a 30-second trailer. And everyone thinks that like it's fixed. I'm like,
I don't think it's fixed.
No.
No.
But it's not. And like Disney's not fixing it, but I don't think they know how. So if Disney had both companies, I think they would just be. I think
Disney.
These are all ideals.
Disney
I would like
might
to
know
believe.
how. Disney might just be waiting for them to be like, just wait until they come crawling.
Why? Why would they
They
do
don't
that?
have to. They can tell them what to do.
Yeah, why would
They
I-
come
could.
crawling.
They
Why would I? If I own a
why would
pizza
I-
company and I hire these people who don't know how to make pizzas, and then I wait for them to come to the
Let's
corporate
just
office
see
and
what happens.
yeah,
It
well, they
doesn't look
burn. Let's see if
good,
they
but-
burn the building down, and then
No,
right
that's
before
fine.
right before he burns the building down, he comes to me and he's like, "I don't know how to make pizza." I knew it. Let me get the dough for you. Like, no, that's not how businesses
I
work.
bought your company, and I can't just fire you.
Why?
Because
I own your company.
I own your
You're
company.
fired.
Sure, but then I have to pay out benefits. I have to do all these things. I have to bring on new people.
There's 3 of you.
Maybe I can just wait for them to have a small meltdown. If I can be like, guys, you didn't do so good. So now I have legal precedent to bring
Right.
in this team.
Yeah,
This team that fixes
I have an
things.
external consultant group.
I
Well,
don't-
who's going to consult one of the biggest of the 2 biggest companies in comics? Who's the consultant going to be? They're going to bring in somebody from IDW? Me? Oh no!
I don't.
Listen, my skills are available and for a nominal fee.
I would be happy to do so.
Yeah.
I was gonna say I don't think Disney is worried about legal fees.
No, they buy companies just to like own
only
a
thing-
piece of technology.
The only thing
They
they might be
have
worried
certain-
about is like morale. Like we don't want to just lay off the whole staff of Marvel because then they'll be like, no, we don't want to
you should
deal
read
with
that.
all that.
You should read the Glassdoor reviews.
Yeah,
Morale is already really low.
maybe that's why Marvel is not losing Disney a ton of money and they don't care because
Yeah,
got
they're like-
this person who's like
the reality
cutting
is, this
costs,
guy's
like,
a-
at every possible point.
Yeah.
Like, look, the company would be hemorrhaging money if not for
Yeah.
him. So
Well, we're
whatever.
good. Yeah, yeah. Well, but people on Twitter are very happy. Oh, well, that makes me happy. Like I'm great. Yeah. No. Like yeah. No. I mean like
I want to hear all of that, but said as Mickey Mouse now.
yeah. Oh well, yeah, that's great. Well, I'm glad everybody on Twitter's happy. But I'm hemorrhaging money here. The hope would be that if Disney owned both companies, they would be like, oh, well, I'll just take all the positive business practices that make my company so profitable and successful and apply them to yours. But we've already seen what Disney does when they acquire companies, and it's not that. And so, like, I think if they owned, I think if they owned DC, if like Disney was like, I want to own all the superheroes, that would be more convenient. They would make Batman, Superman, Spider-Man, Captain America, Iron Man merchandise, and they would neglect everything else. You would see backpacks, indistinguishable. It wouldn't be Spider-Man and Batman and Iron Man like hanging out. You wouldn't see Bat armor, despite the fact that I desperately want to see that so badly. I want to see Iron Man and Batman crossover and see Iron Man, Batman armor. Anyway, bring it back, Zal. But the fact is, you won't see those crossovers. You're just going to see Batman backpacks next to Spider-Man backpacks, like you already do.
Well,
It's just
we
the
just get
Disney
to
will
It'll be
get
the same.
style or the
Yeah,
same, like,
more
yeah,
so, I
one's
guess.
blue, one's red, same exact make.
Well, now we get to put DC characters in the Disney store.
Yes.
And that is all.
That's really what you'd see. The first and major thing you'd see for the first, I want to say 5 years,
Yeah.
would be wherever you see Marvel merchandise, in your Targets and your Walmarts and your Disney stores, you will see anyone like the Guardians of the Galaxy or Squirrel Girl pushed into the garbage can and replaced with Batman. And maybe Superman and Wonder Woman when she has a movie out.
Yep.
Like, but that'll be it.
I think that's nothing to do with anything, but while you were prattling on, I was just sitting here thinking about, like, fun things that will never come to be.
Yes,
Yes.
let's do that. Okay.
Okay.
Because at the end of the day, what do they do with the stuff? They'll make more backpacks. What do they do with the publishers? Nothing. What would be fun?
A Pixar movie about the Super Sons.
Well, yeah. That would be great. I haven't seen a Pixar movie of any Marvel
I'm just
property
saying,
at
but
all.
like those, like Damien and John,
Yeah. Hell, not even Pixar, just the Disney people. The Big
Fine.
Hero 6 movie?
I don't care.
The people who made Big Hero 6 could make a Super Sons
Yeah.
movie. It'd be great.
Right?
Right?
But like I was thinking Pixar because they tend to do that heartwarming, like
They do. They know.
they'd
Well,
really
but
nail
Wreck-It Ralph is fun.
Yeah, but they nail like I think the relationships between parents and
Yeah.
Pixar doesn't do IPs though. They only do like original stuff.
Yeah.
They'd have to
get
Or-
over
they'd have
it.
Or
to
derivatives of the
compromise.
original
Well,
stuff.
Or derivative, yeah, but their stuff.
Yeah.
That's Pixar stuff.
That's true.
I
They
don't
are
take other
pillars of
people's garbage.
Right.
and
I'll
it
make
into
Cars
gold.
4. Thank you very much.
Are you sure? You could make a Batman Superman kid movie.
Right? No.
No,
I think I'd rather
Cars
make.
4.
I'll make Cars University.
we could finally get a Lego game about the Avengers and the Justice League.
That was I believe
I'm
that
sure
will be
they
the
can.
first big thing you'll see because Lego has the license for both Marvel
They
and
already
DC.
have that,
Yeah.
yeah.
I think that's like I know people were like, what's going to be the next DC Marvel crossover? And I'm like, Lego.
Yeah.
It'll be a video game, and
That makes sense.
that could happen.
Oh, sure, that I can have.
Yeah, that could happen tomorrow.
That one I believe will happen.
It was a fantasy! I'd punch you!
Well, that one's a realistic fantasy.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Well, what about just like Marvel versus Capcom? Now it's Marvel versus DC.
Right? I mean, come on.
Marvel versus Capcom versus DC.
Oh, because you got to work in those Comcast.
Versus Mortal Kombat.
Yes.
Oh my God, Injustice Marvel's Among Us.
What?
That's a huge game. People love that game.
Well,
Hell,
why wouldn't it be an Injustice Avengers Among Us?
well, that's fine. Either way,
Whatever.
I like that too.
So we've got video games, we've got movies, we've got comic books. Of
Yes,
course.
and merchandise.
Is there any other avenue that Disney can go into? We talked about theme parks as well.
Yeah,
Right.
theme parks. But again, it would take forever.
The flamethrower?
TV shows.
The kids love that one. Yeah, TV. You'd see a crap load.
Well, Disney has like a direct line into that, so they'd have no problem with at least the kid-based
Yeah.
stuff, and then they would put everything else on ABC.
Yeah. That would be, actually,
Wait, would
that-
they own?
like WB?
Would that also mean that they?
CW?
No. Well, actually, maybe.
Or would they just be getting the comic book property
I think
back?
let's just say they get the comic book property.
Yeah, so they put everything on ABC.
Right.
But that also
Fine.
means we're getting rid of a lot of the Netflix options, right?
No.
We don't
Well, no, I
really
think
know
some of
what
the
they're
Netflix
doing.
stuff is staying on Netflix for
Yes,
now
for
because
now.
like the streaming service is not going to be for
It's PG-13 only.
yeah.
Okay.
Like that's how high it goes
Right.
on the Disney exclusive streaming
Right,
service.
which actually some of the DC stuff I think is since it's on
Oh,
TV
yeah.
anyway. So I mean, like they could pump stuff over there,
Mhm.
make everybody pay for it.
Yeah.
You got to pay for it if you want your Flash.
Yeah.
Why aren't there any DC shows
On Netflix? That's a great question.
Because they got the WB.
Yeah.
Yeah, they do.
But
Yeah,
like
Disney
so
has ABC.
But those aren't like, those aren't like prestige format shows. Like there are no prestige format.
DC shows.
Like,
But
short
people
run.
are
They've talked about
obsessed
it.
with DC shows.
They
Yes.
are, but it's like a totally different audience.
I
Yes.
know.
Like they're like missing out a whole section of people who would watch.
It's like
Well,
they don't care.
That's just
yeah,
it.
it's like they don't.
Well,
There are
I guess
no,
they don't.
there are no original shows.
There is a
on
new
Netflix,
show.
but there is like Green Arrow. There's DC.
No, I
Are you
know.
talking
Leagues
about
of Tomorrow, all that
Krypton?
kind of
yeah.
stuff.
Sci-Fi has Krypton.
Oh,
A
yeah.
high drama show about like Superman's grandpa or
Here's
something.
what's funny about that. It might be great because
That Brainiac looks.
No one's gonna
Best.
watch it though.
well, hang on. Sci-Fi's had a couple of really great shows recently. Like people really like The Expanse.
Yes.
But with Sci-Fi, it's always
You know when the shoe's gonna drop.
Well, it's not just that. There's always a chance it's going to be horrible.
Yeah.
There's always the chance that they're also gonna throw it in a Sharknado.
Well, yeah. Do you hear they're trying to reboot Stargate? I'm sorry,
Reboot
it's
it?
really random, but
Why?
yeah, like they're just trying to.
Why do they keep pushing that?
They're just gonna like clean the slate and just
Stop trying to
start
make Stargate
over.
happen.
It happened. It happened way longer than it had any right to be.
Hey, we got a movie first. I was happy about that.
Yeah,
The
and then you
fact that
got
their
like
show happened
26
afterwards,
seasons,
whatever.
4 spin-offs, and now a
Like, the whole
reboot.
time it was just
Just
Some of it's okay.
meanwhile, Farscape
Yeah.
canceled 2 seasons
some of
or
the
whatever.
old stuff.
As far as Escape, at 2 or 3,
I don't know.
and then a
I don't
movie to finish it up.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Stargate, everyone who worked on that show wanted to stop, and they were like, "You're greenlit for 2 more seasons."
Please just let it die.
No. And Farscape's like, "We just need 1 more season to end the show," and they're like, "You canceled." We'll give you 2 hours.
Get out of here.
Get your stupid puppet
Bang, bang, bang,
hell
bang,
out
bang.
of here.
Do you think we could get a superhero channel?
I think that's, you know what's funny?
Oh.
Wizard suggested that idea like 20 years ago, and I remember being like, as a kid, how you gonna wrangle that? How you gonna wrangle all those IPs? You can't show like the Spider-Man 70s show after Linda Carter's Wonder Woman. That doesn't make any sense. But like now you could.
I love cynical child Sal. I just imagine this voice coming out of a little tiny version.
No,
And-
no.
and
These
TJs
giant glasses
with a big bowl of cereal in front of them?
No, yeah. No. There's no way it's unfeasible.
Okay, I'm sorry, but I can't help but imagine Fruit Loops.
Yeah, of course. Well, I like a lot of cereals, but
Right, but like little
it has
kids
to be
out,
very colorful.
Or honeycomb, maybe, because they're big.
Yeah.
it's not small.
No.
Are we done?
Yeah, I think that's
Yeah,
it.
I guess.
All right. Well, thanks for watching the worst episode of Comic Line ever.
Oh, that's good stuff here.
This is the what
The
if.
disjointed episode,
It's
perhaps?
true, yeah. But you know what? There were some things in there
There's some nuggets.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
In any
What is
case,
happening?
I like this. I think the superhero channel is like the most likely thing to happen out of it, if it were to happen. A lot of hope and a lot of cynicism, because like comic books will break your heart. That's a quote from Jack Kirby, and he wasn't wrong. So like watching these mega conglomerates buy up all this stuff, it's scary and it's harrowing and but it's also exciting, and you know, like there's always the potential, because like the MCU, no one could have predicted how successful.
Never would have called that.
And how like even though the 3 best characters from that universe are wrapping up their run, the future couldn't be more bright for that idea. And so like, hey, you know what? For all the bluster and everything, like we still got X-Men comics, even though like the Fox thing didn't work out. We still got like Spider-Man comics, even though Sony was being weird. And like you got a lot of stuff that still worked, even though like Disney could have just said screw it all and burn it. And so, you know, if Disney did acquire DC, I don't think it would be the worst thing in the world, and I think there could be some good that came out of it. But I do think the competition does breed creativity, and I do like the fact that they are both separate.
Yeah,
and
I think that would be the biggest loss.
Yeah, I want to see them work together, but I do like them in opposition the rest of the time. You know? So, there you have it, everybody. We'll see you guys next time with an all-new episode of Comic Line. I'm Sal.
I'm Ethan.
I'm Ben.
I'm Tiffany.
Thanks for watching.
Hurrah!
So who would win?
No, they knock each other out.
Yeah, they're like kaboosh.
Yeah, it's the unstoppable force meeting the immovable object. I mean,
See, here's the thing. Superman would just shake his hand.
aw. And then
like-
Hulk would punch him into the stomach.
Hey, buddy,
Hi,
put her
I'm
there.
Superman. Bam!
Yeah, bros.
Yeah, fist bump it, because I have no fingers.
Bam. Yeah, it's gonna work out. What are you doing?
Oh no.
Why are you quaking? What are you doing? No. 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 I have to go back in time.